I'm so misunderstood. I'm a musician of my time and or big CEO. I hope that someday they make a great biopic about my life and everybody will love it and it won't be cookie cutter at all. Oh, hi, Jackson.
Yeah, well, I understand how you feel because I'm a writer of epic fantasy. And, someday maybe someone will make a movie of my life. And it'll be, the most amazing movie ever. If they don't even have to change anything, they can just show clips of me hanging out with my friends and wooing the girlfriend.
Hi, guys. George R. R. Martin here. And when they make my biopic, most of it will be me sitting on my ass.
Let's hope that never happens. I don't ever want the George R. R. Martin biopic.
Yeah. I mean, It would be pretty boring. Just about as boring as a couple of ones that we saw this week.
Yeah. So that's the topic. Are biopics inherently boring, shall we say?
Yeah.
Is that the topic?
That is the topic for this week on Bored and Annoyed. I'm Home at the Movies.
And I'm Jackson.
And welcome. Bored and Annoyed.
So news, though. There's a lot of news.
There's so much news. We're going to start off with something a little somber, a little sad.
Sure.
Peter Mayhew, known famously as Chewbacca, has passed away at 74.
Yeah, that is sad. It's just, I don't know. It's hard with him because it's like that's all he's known for.
Right.
I don't know his personality. I've never,
All I know is that apparently everybody who knew him loved him. He was apparently a gentle giant, just a lovable guy.
Well, and I don't know. I mean, it's always possible that he needed the money, but I know he was at Star Wars Celebration last month, apparently in rough ass shape.
Yeah, he's apparently sick. He was apparently sick.
Yeah, and he still did it. So, I mean, it's probably more likely that he just did it for the fans, which I appreciate.
Right.
So that kind of shows what kind of a guy he is, I think.
Yeah.
I can't imagine in his situation that he needed, he probably knew it's coming to an end.
Right.
So it's kind of cool that he did that.
So I think we should do a traditional a Chewy chant.
A Kashyyyk.
Yes.
A Kashyyyk chant.
Kind of like the Christmas special.
Oh, no. We don't want to remember that.
Oh, okay.
That's not how we want to remember him.
All right.
But no, I think we could do a... what do you think?
Let's
a random both at the same time?
Yeah, let's go.
Right.
It sounds like Mike Chewalski or whatever his name is from.
Look at the levels on the recording. But no, you know what? Just take that, cut it out, and put the real one in, and then we'll look really good.
I'm putting this in,
but
just so people can see behind the veil.
Right. But no, rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Chewbacca.
We will miss you.
Yes.
But yeah, so we've got some trailer time.
Oh, we're jumping right into trailer time? We're starting with trailer time?
We're going to start with trailer time, get back to news. You got to switch it up sometimes.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
I'm excited. A pretty cool little trailer there. Spoiler warning at the beginning.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. I liked that, though. I mean, it's not.
I mean, the other option is you just somehow completely dodge that in your trailer, but that kind of sounds like the most interesting aspect of the movie. So
yes.
Plus, Endgame made $2 billion. We probably want to tie this to the biggest movie ever made.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it makes sense.
I mean, it seemed like a little bit of a Sony move. We're we got to ride the high of the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
that's
let's
the
take
whole
advantage
reason
of that.
Why we have this deal. Yeah, I really like seeing Jake Gyllenhaal.
I can't wait.
I love the red and black suit. I love the just straight spy suit that he gets. That looks pretty cool. And I do love the Peter dealing with the death of Tony.
Yes, that'll be the most interesting thing, I think.
Yes, I'm hoping so.
They correct me if I'm wrong, but they're introducing multiverses in this, right?
That is where the real discussion lies.
So is Sony trying to backdoor a way to get the Spider-Verse thing in here?
Absolutely.
And how do you feel about that?
I feel like this is dog shit.
Really?
so I'm of two minds on this. The multiverse is something that is inevitable with the Marvel universe. It's inevitable with any comic book universe.
They kind of set it up like in a way in Endgame too.
Absolutely. And I guess spoilers for that movie, I guess. But we're discussing a trailer that discusses
now that we know
spoilers.
how much money it's made.
Right.
Odds are pretty good that everybody's seen it.
I hope you saw it.
But you're right. We won't go into too deep of spoilers.
But the thing that gets me about that is like, okay, so we've got the multiverse. This could be great. Or it could get really convoluted for, the average moviegoer.
Right.
So that's dangerous.
Okay.
But I'm kind of wondering if Mysterio is known to be a trickster. He has, illusions.
Sure.
So maybe he's lying. Now I'm going to take this a step further than parts of the internet and go, maybe Sam Jackson isn't even there. Maybe Sam Jackson or Nick Fury is really a hologram, or maybe that they get Chameleon in this movie.
That'd be neat.
That, and it's like a way to trick Spider-Man or whatever. I don't know what his goal is. I don't know what his aim is, but I mean, you took somebody who's known for illusions and you made him come from the multiverse. I'm not sure if that is going to be real or not.
Well, clearly he's going to be one of these, like, he's going to be acting like he's a friend and he's really a foe type character. So it would make sense.
But if it is the multiverse, we got some really cool things that could happen.
Right.
We could have Toby show up in this movie.
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah. We could have a real Spider-Verse.
A good point. Andrew Garfield.
I mean, everybody wants it.
You know what I want? I want like OG Green Goblin Willem Dafoe to show up in the movie.
That would be sweet.
Bring him into the Marvel universe.
But then my other thought is like you could go really deep and really personal with the character. Like, what if this multiverse thing is real? What if Uncle Ben comes through from another universe?
Oh, there you go. And we finally get to meet the Marvel universe Uncle Ben.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, you could do a bunch of stuff with that. I mean, there's some really personal ways that you could really. I mean, Tony walks through from another universe for all we know,
Yeah, but his contract's probably
up. Yeah. But I mean, the potentials are kind of limitless on this one. So
yeah, I'm excited to see it.
I kind of want it both ways. You know what I mean? Because I don't want Venom and I don't want Morbius associated with this shit.
Sure. Here's a question. It's gonna be riding that Avengers wave, right?
Right. $1 billion.
I would assume it's not going to make like Avengers or Infinity War money, but will it be the highest standalone
Spider-Man movie? Yes.
Marvel movie. Outside of the Avengers.
I kind of doubt it because that means it has to beat, I believe it's Black Panther with like 1.34
That's
or
right.
something.
Black Panther. That's like that's the wild card one.
It probably
could it beat Captain Marvel?
I think it could beat Captain Marvel.
Okay.
I think that's like a coin flip on it beating Captain Marvel because
Captain Marvel had the going into Avengers momentum. This will have the coming out of Avengers momentum.
Exactly. The only thing that makes me doubt if maybe it can hit Captain Marvel is that we've seen Spider-Man so many times.
Sure.
But this does have the Endgame association.
Yeah, but anybody who saw Endgame, like the Spider-Man moments were pretty big at the end.
They were.
Yeah,
so I completely agree.
Yeah.
Hopeful.
And it has Jake Gyllenhaal.
He'll
bring
your
box
universe
office.
Gets better.
I would agree.
Just with him in it. I really, 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 I mean, can you imagine if they really do a Sinister Six and it's Jake Gyllenhaal, Michael Keaton, they get one more big name and then you got a couple,
Well, they haven't even gotten into the villains we've already seen either. Like they haven't gone to like Dr. Octopus.
No, and I don't think that they're going to.
You think they're just going to completely dodge them?
They're going to try and do everything that hasn't been done before they touch on those ones.
That's tough. Because I really like those. The Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus are fucking awesome.
They're the best.
Yeah, right.
Like literally. And I hate what happened to the Lizard because the Lizard is actually a really cool villain.
Oh, he was so terrible.
But he was awful in that movie.
Yeah.
But let's see what else. The social media is just all abuzz over this movie. Gotta go fast.
Oh, Sonic?
Gotta go fast.
That might have been the worst looking trailer I have seen. One of the worst I've ever seen for like a big budget, like real movie.
Right. So Coolio, like that was your choice.
Yeah, it makes. Well, so yeah, is that okay? People that played Sonic were of like when that came out, they were of the age that played Sonic.
Right.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Right. Right.
Like, do you associate Sonic with like Gangster's Paradise?
No.
Yeah, I would agree.
What I don't get is this is in the vein of some really bad movies. This whole like come to the real world thing it never works.
Yeah, like
Smurfs. Garfield.
Yeah.
Let's go real old school. The original Mario Brothers movie.
Oh my God.
I mean,
yeah, why wouldn't you make a Sonic movie just like a 3D animated movie?
Right.
Yeah.
Like ever since Toy Story came out, people have been like, oh, we can do video game movies now.
Yeah, you could. Right. Oh, and what's it called? Kind of did it successfully. Wreck-It Ralph of does that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So why wouldn't they? And Sonic, is he in Wreck-It Ralph? I feel like he's in it.
For like a brief shot. Yeah.
So why don't you do like a Sonic movie
where he looks like Sonic?
Well, or he is that character from the Wreck-It Ralph movies.
Could do it.
You just do like a side Wreck-It Ralph movie, but it's Sonic.
Right. I can't.
You just make the ugliest. I mean, we can't dodge that bullet. It's the worst character design.
Oh my God.
It's hideous.
I love the fact that the director went to Twitter and he was like, we've heard the cries.
How did you not
fast?
Why did you even need to hear the cries though? You are delusional if you looked at that and thought it looked good.
And then the worst part is and this is like, I don't know what part of me this is, but this is the part of me that some people don't like, which is the people who are going to be redesigning and fixing Sonic's design. They're below the line help, which usually means they don't get paid overtime. So the director coming out and saying, "Oh, we're going to redesign." You mean you're going to get
all of them over?
Yeah, because now they've got 100-hour work weeks, and they're not going to get paid overtime for it because a lot of these CG houses. They get signed for the job, and however long the job takes, that's how long it takes to do the job. I hope
there's someone who has some experience in this that listens to this, because I would like to hear how that works. Because you're right, that does seem fucked up.
I mean, I don't know if that's still how it is.
But it makes sense what you're saying.
When I was in college, that's what we learned. That's fucked.
Although they fucked him up in the first place.
Right.
Some animator had to have been sitting there going like, this is hideous.
I mean, there are literally hundreds on this. I bet you the overwhelming majority was like, I can't
it's just
believe
the job,
it.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you going to lose your job like trying to redesign Sonic and like...
You know, what's funny too, you can feel that in the animation when it's just a job. And when like there's a passionate team behind it. Like you think about like shit like, you know, Lord of the Rings, not just animation, but special effects in general.
Right.
Like you can tell Peter Jackson and the crew at like Weta or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah. You know that they just fucking were like, they wanted to nail it.
Absolutely.
This movie is a throwaway, nobody gives a fuck movie.
Right. And it could have been, I mean, and I'm not going to say you're going to get the same sort of passion for Sonic as you would Lord of the Rings because there's no pathos.
No, but you can make it good.
You could. But you could get people excited because they're like, oh, this is going to be a fun little movie. But no, you made James Marsden, what's going on with you, man?
He's just losing it.
I just feel so bad for him. I mean, why does he keep doing this to himself?
There's room in the MCU for him.
There absolutely is. I mean, it's no wonder. I mean, a few weeks ago, he was like, oh, I'll come back as Cyclops. Of course you will. You're doing Sonic.
You're doing Sonic, and your character in Westworld was awful in the second season.
Not his fault. But still awful. Yeah.
Awful. Yeah. Poor guy.
Yeah.
True. Sonic is his fault, though.
Well,
kind of. I mean, he needs a job. But...
You read the script.
Right.
I mean, what are you doing?
I mean, we haven't seen it yet.
It looks so bad.
And Jim Carrey can go fuck himself. I'm sorry. Get the fuck out of here with that shit.
I mean, he's straight up
the 92 shtick.
Yeah, he was straight up Ace Venturing all over the place. It was horrendous. This is one of the worst trailers.
Well, and who is it for?
Right.
Who's the movie for? Like, it needs to either, like, it should be for us, I guess, because we played Sonic, but I guess kids still play Sonic.
The smartest thing to do is to make it appeal to children, but also make it appeal to adults. Because you're just broadening your demographic range. Why would you not do that?
And we've seen how, not easily, but how well and how successful like Pixar or DreamWorks with the Shrek movies. Like, yes, there's a way to do that. It's so pretty clear that there's a way to do that.
Right. It's so the worst part about this is like, it's like somebody had never seen any of these god awful movies before. It was like it was made in a vacuum. Like, we're going to make a Sonic movie and he'll come to the real world and he'll look like a real person.
The trailer seemed like an April Fool's joke.
Right. I am astonished. I'm blown away. I mean,
it looks so bad.
Yeah. So you can count us among the millions who hated this.
I can't wait to see it, though.
It's going to be a train wreck.
I really can't wait to see it.
It's going to be an absolute train wreck.
A landmark film to see.
How are they going to fit the coin or the rings in? How do you think
it looked like he used one as like a portal to like go to another. Oh, right. He was like falling off a building or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, that looked awful.
The sound effects were like cheesily thrown in there. It just looked terrible.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. I took 1 million steps.
Yeah.
One of the worst jokes. Just awful. And I feel really bad for John Ralphio from Parks and Rec, who is the voice of him.
That's who's the voice?
Yes.
Oh, God.
I feel so bad for him. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
They were probably like, hey, you want to voice Sonic? And he was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be a neat job.
And
voice Sonic.
And then you read the script. But they don't give you the script until the day of because you're a voice actor.
Ooh. And then you just don't care.
And then you just, yeah. Then it's just a paycheck.
Right.
So
that looks terrible.
That looks terrible. Something that doesn't look terrible. The new It trailer.
Yeah, it looks good. I mean, they basically the way they did it was kind of an extended clip. It's a clip that was, it was in the original Tim Curry. Mm-hmm. Like, it's a scene that happens where Beverly goes back home. I guess that'll just be how I leave it at that. Something happens, but they kind of showed you just an extended preview of that scene.
I've been saying for a while that this is how movies should start marketing themselves, is start with basically a full scene that's got a nice little hook. You want to see how it goes.
Sure.
And then you end it with like the montage of like, oh, here are like the big moments.
Now, the worry is, though, now when you see that scene in the movie, you've already seen that scene, I guess, would be the drawback. Actually, another movie did that this week. Brightburn released an extended scene.
Yeah,
Did you see that?
I didn't see that. I saw like they released like he crashed in the woods. What made him think that he would be good?
That's what I saw was a woman in a diner. Okay. And like he comes after her.
And he's stalking her? Right.
He's like after her and it's a Red Band trailer. And I did not know they were going for the gruesomeness that is revealed in this trailer.
All right.
It made me more excited to see it. Because it's like, I was like, ooh. But yeah, look that up later.
Jackson's like hashtag my Superman.
Yeah, he looks pretty fucking sweet.
Zack Snyder is tight. Snyder's fully on board.
But yeah, It though. So yeah, they have that clip and then they just show, it almost is like a tiny little teaser trailer at the end.
Yep.
But you see all the actors as the characters. And
you know what I'm kind of wondering is, so this movie has basically an all new cast. Yep. There's a certain segment of the population, you get like the 16-year-olds or 17-year-olds and under who love to see the movies, horror movies with them in them.
Okay, but they're still in it though.
They are.
Right.
But they're not prominent in this first trailer.
Sure.
I'm kind of wondering if maybe the box office maybe takes a look. Like I expect this to open probably bigger than the original,
but it might not make as much overall.
Yes.
That could be a fair assessment because like you're targeting teenagers.
Right.
I mean, somebody discovered that horror was for teenagers, even though you're supposed to be 17.
Yeah.
But really you make your money on like teenagers,
Yep.
So you could be right. You could be right about that.
I don't want it to happen because I want this, I mean, it's not like it's going to get a third unless they
Sure.
Wait, who makes this? Is this Sony?
I don't know, but if it's Sony, they could try to juice out a third.
Right, yeah, they'll juice.
Ruin it.
Yeah. Chapter 3. How pissed would you be if it ends like that?
Chapter 3 in 2 years. Oh, yeah. No, this has to be it. Yeah. I would say.
It has to be it, eh?
Oh, it. Ooh. Yeah, no, I did that on purpose.
We were talking about that scene, and I think maybe it plays a little funny. We were saying that while watching it. Because maybe the editing is a little off. Because you're not getting
it in context.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But the fact when she shuffles behind him and she's all naked or behind
that was a little odd, like her peeking around.
That was funny. It was really
Although he is
funny.
a clown, he's a funny guy.
Yeah.
That's part of his character. So
Yep. But yeah, we can go back to news. Endgame box office. Number 2 movie worldwide
ever. Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that shithead James Cameron wrote like a nice note about?
Yeah. It took an iceberg to sink the real Titanic.
Go fuck yourself.
And it took the Avengers to sink my Titanic.
What a douchebag. You talked all that shit now. Like he should have preceded that with, I know I said this and I kind of shit on this whole genre, but now congratulations.
Right.
You proved me wrong. And not so much proved me wrong, but.
Do you think this is going to make him go to the drawing board even harder for like Avatar 2 and 3? Which has been pushed back again.
He's got a problem. Those are not going to be as big, in my opinion.
There's no way. No way.
Because the 3D gimmick shit, like the reason that movie blew up was because it looked amazing in the theater, right? Avatar 2, what are you going to do to up the ante on that?
Right.
As a visual piece of filmmaking, the first one is amazing.
Right.
Like as far as how it looks.
Right. Well, and everybody wanted to go see it again. And it had, months and months and months with no real competition. There was never been anything like it.
Right. Well,
I mean,
there's been everything is like it because it's completely fucking
technologically,
right? Yeah,
3D technology. So I mean, it's one of those things where, and I don't love talking about Avatar because I don't think it's really. I think it's one of James Cameron's worst movies in my opinion.
Yeah, but it's still good.
It's still a fine movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's
just so stock. But anyways, point is like. I think James is shaking in his boots a little bit because
he wants that. You think he likes being that? I mean,
I think he likes being the king of the box office.
Yeah.
And it's more likely now that Avengers will actually pass Avatar for number 1 worldwide. Probably won't pass The Force Awakens for domestic number 1 box office. It'll be number 2. They're projecting anywhere from 850 to like 920 in the US. But I mean, it's almost a foregone conclusion it will beat Avatar. Because it's at
2.23 billion or something last that we checked.
Yeah, almost at 2.35.
Okay.
So, I mean, and that's going into its third weekend where it's probably going to make another worldwide about another 200. So it's going to be at like about 2.5, 2.55. I mean, you're telling me it can't make up just a little over 200 million in the rest of its run? Fuck off.
Yeah.
So it's happening. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Not like we're seeing a dime of it though, so it doesn't matter. So Disney released their new schedule, yeah.
So we have alternating Avatar Star Wars years, correct?
Seems like it, yeah.
Okay.
And Avatar is being pushed back.
2021.
And we also got to push back on that, not X-Force.
New Mutants.
Right, yeah.
Another one.
Yeah. I'm hoping that just gets pushed to the streaming service and they just bury it so we can get the X-Men back sooner.
Yeah, it's really fucking bizarre. Just come out with the goddamn movie.
Or just bury it. I'm fine with that too. I don't need to see it.
I mean, yeah, but they're not going to do that because they wasted. I guess it wasn't their money. They bought the shit, I guess.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, I guess you...
No, they'll release it somehow. We'll see.
But yeah, I mean, and looks like they're getting back to 3 Marvel movies a year again.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, this is insanity. Oh, Bob Iger also said after like that was released, he said that Marvel will be releasing their their release schedule or their film slate.
Okay.
Later on this summer.
Sweet. So we'll know.
We'll know
what's
finally,
coming.
And then we'll spend an entire episode talking about that.
I'm sure.
And you know me, I love my bad DC news.
Oh God, what do you got this week?
Batman, the new Batman movie that's being
pushed back.
Yep, to 2020.
All right,
so
that's fine. I'd rather them push it back, and hopefully it's good.
I hope so too. But I mean, it's like, what is it? Matt Reeves who's making it.
Yeah, and I like him.
I like him a lot.
Right.
I have utter faith in this guy. But we need that fucking movie, man. Like, I'm worried that it's going to be...
They need to, like, hurry up and save Batman before it's too late.
Right. Well, it's kind of... to me, it's like, are you going to lose him as a director? Because these things get in development hell and then they just don't go anywhere.
That's true, actually.
You know?
That is true.
That scares me. So last piece of news. This one is kind of... It's sort of loosely related to the Spider-Man movie.
Okay.
So... Amy Pascal, producer for Sony. She's been a producer forever. She produced all the Spider-Man movies.
The great Spider-Man movies?
Yeah.
All right.
She has left Sony for a first look deal at Universal.
Okay.
So this is kind of people are of two minds on this, which is, we should be really happy because Amy Pascal seems kind of incompetent. She's kind of like the Kathleen Kennedy of the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, but now she goes and ruins anything cool Universal has, if that's the case.
Yeah, but I mean,
guess if you're a superhero fan, though, your allegiances lie with...
Right. Well, that's exactly.
I mean, she's going to build a hell of a dark universe.
I like that you kind of brought that up because, you're right. I am coming from how does this affect Spider-Man?
Correct.
I haven't even thought about the dark universe, but also, who gives a fuck? The Mummy sucked.
I agree. Like, I don't care about the dark universe, so to speak, but it would be cool to have a good producer or good person over at Universal make monster movies, whether or not it's going to be the dark universe.
Agreed.
But if they're bringing in some dumb hack person, then that sucks for anything they have.
Right. And I mean, it's one of those things. We should all be cheering for competence in jobs. And I don't think that she has much.
Ooh.
But then the other fear is that we've got Tim Roth, who Tim Rothman? Sorry,
I was going to say, what, you had Tim Roth news. I got really excited.
No, we have Tim Rothman, and we have I'm blanking on his name. The guy I said who was a douchebag, Avi Arad.
Okay.
So we've got those two kind of in charge of like the Sony side of things now. And it's like, do you really want to, like, Tim Rothman has gone out and said, superheroes are just terrible movies and he has no respect for them and he doesn't understand the audience for them. That was back when he was with Fox. He was in charge of the X-Men universe when it was during its worst years.
Okay.
During the X-Men Last Stand, during the X-Men Origins phase.
Okay.
So
a great time for the X-Men.
Right. Yeah. So do we want Tim Rothman in charge and Avi Arad in charge? That's kind of a big no. Because then the fear is like they could take Spider-Man back.
Hey, they could take Kathleen Kennedy.
Hey, that would be great. Just fire those two. Kathleen, you go take care of Sony's superheroes.
Yes.
It won't be much worse. I actually would argue that she would do a better job.
Well, her movie, the Star Wars movies overall have been better than like the outside of Spider-Verse.
Right.
Like the Venom, Amazing Spider-Man movies. Like
Spider-Verse, also known as The Fluke.
Yeah, The Fluke.
The Fluke.
The great fluke of 2018.
And even more so, I'm coming from that comic book fan base sort of side of things. But some people are thinking, well, maybe Amy will sort of broker a deal with Universal so that we can finally get a standalone Hulk movie.
Oh.
Because that was,
she was a shitty Amy standalone Hulk movie.
It would be.
Unless they gave it to Marvel the way Spider-Man.
That's because she was the bridge between Sony and Kevin.
The bridge between two peoples.
The bridge between two peoples. There's so many bridges between two peoples. But yeah, that's kind of the end of the news. I
can't think of any other news.
Pikachu leaked.
Oh yeah, the Pikachu
leaked, quote unquote.
Yeah, that was a funny little trick.
That was a very Deadpool thing to do. I mean, why does Ryan Reynolds, like everything that Ryan Reynolds does, like he has to be Deadpool now? I don't mind it. Like, it's fine. It's good. It's a nice little PR stunt. But yeah, I mean, let's go into shit we watched.
Yeah. So I can't remember if I brought this up on the show, but like a couple months ago, I had started that Manhunt Unabomber show. It was a Discovery Channel TV show.
Okay.
And it has Paul Bettany and the Avatar guy. What's his name? The main character?
Sam Worthington.
Sam Worthington. And I gotta say, Sam Worthington is not that bad. Like, they put him in a role where he wasn't Action Man. He's like a linguistic expert who like is trying to use language to figure out who the Unabomber is. Sure. Based on the manifesto that was sent in and shit. Okay. And it goes through the whole story of like how the FBI tracked him down and caught him. Mm-hmm. And it's really good. And Paul Bettany's always good, and he plays the Unabomber. And it has enough of like if they go into his backstory a little bit where it's interesting, like you kind of understand his like theology or his like his way of thinking, but the way he goes about trying to get it out there is fucked. Yeah. You know? Yep. But it's not like fucking the Ted Bundy movie, which we'll talk about, which is like, it almost doesn't demonize him at all. Like, clearly this guy's a fucking lunatic. Right. Yeah. But yeah, I would recommend it if people want to watch something like that. I was really surprised by how good it was, to be honest with you. I was very surprised. Towards the end, it got really good when it's like, you know, Ted Kaczynski kind of gets a little fucked by his defense team, and it gets to the point where you almost feel sorry for him. No. I mean, no, but in the context of the show, right, everyone deserves a fair hearing, right? No one deserves to have their lawyers backstabbing them. I suppose. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just interesting. If the evidence is pretty damning, I don't know. I mean, you're right. Like, to me, like, you know, there are certain terrorists out there and shit where like they deserve, I don't, you know, we've had this conversation before where it's like, it's war, kill him. But it was weird. It was like, I didn't realize like how they caught it. It's just, and it's crazy to me that he did it for 17 years before he got caught. Yep. I mean, what the fuck? But yeah, they go, you know, like actually the woman from 40-Year-Old Virgin and like Glee, the blonde haired lady, what's her name again? Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, she plays Janet Reno. Oh, which was interesting. It's not a it wasn't bad. Jane Lynch. You know, Will Ferrell did a great Janet Reno. Just have him play her in a serious show. He was really not half bad. I mean, it's true. Actually, this is going to sound horrible, but he was probably closer in looks to the real Janet Reno. Yes, he was. Than Jane Lynch. I mean, do you remember when she showed up on SNL and he was dressed as her? Oh, yeah. That was good for her, too, to have like the sense of humor to do that. Yeah. Hello, Janet. But yeah, it was really good. So what did you watch? So I watched Kill the Messenger with Jeremy Renner. Okay, what is that about? I don't even know if I've seen anything on this. So this is about a journalist. This is based on real events. Okay. Based on a journalist who discovered during the Reagan era that the CIA was to funnel the war in, I'm forgetting what country the war was in. I think not Brazil. Anyways, there was a war. It was like the Iran-Contra stuff? Like the... Yeah, it was the Contra stuff. Okay. Yeah, so we were trying to fund the war. So they actually brought drugs up from a South American country, and the CIA was basically looking the other way and helping fund the war effort through selling drugs in the U.S. Right. Giant, huge revelation to the people. And it's about the guy, what happened to the guy who broke the story. Right. Jeremy Renner plays the guy. And this is a biopic that I actually really quite liked. Oh, really? Nicaragua. Nicaragua. Yes, that's what it was. Yes. This guy did a good job. And it's one of those things where it kind of makes you realize, like, and, I say this while both of us have our cell phones out, so anybody in the government can hear this. But hello, Trump. Yeah. Hi. What's going on? Yeah. Anyways.
disgusted by what the government can do to people.
It is crazy.
This man's life, his career is ruined.
Okay. The main character, is he based on a real guy?
He's based on a real guy.
Okay.
They come after his personal life. It puts a strain on his marriage. He's got 3 children, I believe. And it's a tragedy. It does not end well for him. And it's sickening because right when the like the Monica Lewinsky stuff was going on,
okay,
that's when the CIA revealed that all of this was real. Basically, because there was a whole media shitstorm going on,
and you could do it.
So you could
do that so strategically.
It's fucking.
It is crazy,
horrendous.
Well, I mean, dude, even to everything, they usually like release big news on a Friday,
right?
Because people aren't going to pay attention in the weekend. By the time the next week rolls around, nobody gives a shit.
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And the worst thing is like this was from a small little paper, so the media lambasted this dude because they're like, oh, we didn't hear about this. Oh, why isn't the Washington Post covering? Oh, it's because the chief editor of the Washington Post used to work for the CIA and has hired CIA.
So he's involved. Like, he's close.
He's got
to
buy. So they just bury this dude. They bury his story. He goes to shit podunk town,
And this is Jeremy Renner.
I
might want to watch this.
This is a pretty fantastic. It's a pretty fantastic little movie.
What's it called again?
Kill the Messenger.
Kill the Messenger.
And they did kill the messenger. It's a very apt title.
Okay.
Made you very mad.
It sounds interesting.
It was very good. It was very good. I highly recommend it. Jeremy Renner is fucking fantastic. This dude needs more attention. I know he's an Avenger, but he needs more attention. He's great.
Yeah.
In everything he's in.
I really like him quite a bit.
Best part about Tag.
He could have been. He might have been. I mean, I'm a Mad Men, what's his name? John Hamm guy myself, but
I think Renner had the better bits, but yeah.
I watched a twofer. I was on some airplanes. And now airplanes are like the place to see movies that you like kind of forgot about. Like I'm going through the list because now it's like, it's not like this is the movie. It's like, here's the screen, or you tap in through the Wi-Fi on the plane and you just have a list of a ton of free movies, which is awesome.
Right.
The first one I watched was Ben is Back.
Okay.
With Julia Roberts and Mr. I Am Always the Teenager Nowadays. It's escaping me. Hang on, folks. You're going to have to forgive me. I even had it up and I'm still fucking this up. Mr. I'm Always the Teenager, Lucas Hedges.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe Lucas Hedges was actually in Kill the Messenger. I'm not even
Dude,
joking.
He's in like everything.
I think it was him. I'll look this up while you're describing.
But and then Courtney B. Vance is in it. But basically it's about Ben is the son of this family and he's in rehab and he shows up at the house for Christmas, and it goes through all the typical recovery movie shit, almost to the point where having been a person, like being a person who's from the recovery world, it gets a little irritating,
right? Because
it's like you're trying to check all the boxes, like, oh, here's him at a meeting, and here's the person speaking at the meeting, and they say the keep coming back, it works if you work it, or all the cheesy bullshit, which is like, it's legit stuff that you hear and see and do.
So you're telling me you're a big fan of the movie?
I liked it better from an entertainment perspective than like the Steve Carell one, Beautiful Boy, that I watched.
Okay, right.
Like the performances are pretty good. I like Lucas Hedges a lot. Mm-hmm. I like Julia Roberts. But it's another one where it's like, it's not that hopeful.
Okay.
Like, and I don't want to go into spoilers.
Okay.
But it doesn't leave you off. And I get it. You're trying to like make people feel like, you're trying to shock people into like how big of a problem this is.
Right.
He's a heroin addict in the movie. His girlfriend died from a dose that he gave her, like and the parent, like you meet the parent who has to live with the fact that the daughter's gone and giving advice to the one who still has her son. And
by the way, Lucas Hedges was in Kill the Messenger.
Of course he was. But no, I mean, it was pretty good. I'm going to give it like a B- though. I didn't think it was great. But I'm I'm a hard line on this movie.
Right.
Like, to me, the best recovery related thing I've seen in a while was that second episode of the horror show.
Oh, right.
That was like great.
Yeah.
Like, like, because
House on Haunted Hill.
You creatively like dealt with the demons that a drug addict is dealing with.
Right.
And because of the context of the show,
yep.
you could do it in a way that wasn't so like cheeseball. Hey, we've seen this a million times.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it made it more interesting to me than this.
Right. Right.
And that's funny that I get that out of a horror show, but but they did a good job in that. So yeah, I watched that. And then the other one I watched, I'm probably going to get some shit for this. I know this movie is getting like great reviews. Little Woods with Tessa Thompson and Lily James.
Okay.
Have you even seen the previews for this?
Nope.
So the premise is basically that they're sisters. Lily James, if anybody doesn't know, was the Baby Driver waitress girl.
Yeah.
I like her. I like Tessa Thompson.
I believe
Good
she was also
performances.
from that fancy British show.
Oh, was she?
I believe so.
I think she played Cinderella too.
She did.
Okay. So the premise is they're sisters. Tessa Thompson was adopted. Their mom's dead or whatever. Lily James has a little boy and is like living in like a trailer.
Okay.
Like a trailer park life. And Tessa Thompson is like she's like on probation for selling drugs or whatever.
We watched the trailer for this.
It looked great. Like when I saw it on the plane, I was like, fuck yeah. Like I didn't realize this was on here.
Right.
I'm excited to watch this. I thought it was good, but I wasn't like...
It looked kind of boring.
I thought it was going to be way better than it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think that expectations kind of fucked me on this one. Because when I saw the trailer, I was like, wow, that looks really good.
Right.
And like, it gets really political.
Does it?
In like the... Because... I mean, I don't know how to really say, like, they're in like kind of they're on the border of Canada. Okay. And they need to get to Canada to get something done that they can't get in the States because of insurance.
Sounds like a medical thing.
Right.
Okay.
But it's not just that. They double down.
Oh.
And there's like this whole thing where like Tessa Thompson's character is like telling the sister, like, you're so brave. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I'm not against what they're doing, but I'm not sitting here like, I don't understand why it's so brave, I guess. But you'd have to see the movie to understand the context of what I'm saying.
Right. Okay.
But I don't like, that doesn't work for me. So maybe that kind of drags the movie down, but I'd still give it like a B. I thought it was good.
Okay. Okay.
Like all the drug stuff with Tessa Thompson's character. Like, it's interesting that the one who kind of has it together is the one who pushes the drugs, and the one who's like in the trailer park isn't doing the criminal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was an interesting concept. Yeah, I'd give it a B. I don't think it was great though. I was disappointed.
Okay.
I was disappointed, and that made me sad because I was really, really excited when I was about to watch it. But,
okay.
Anything else you watched?
Yeah, I watched Long Shot. Seth Rogen. Charlize.
Oh yeah, the funny. This is supposed to be good.
This is very good.
Is it
actually? I dare say I loved this movie.
Really?
I thought it was great. I think this movie, because this didn't do very well at the box office.
Is this better than any of the comedies last year? Is it better than Game Night? I know that was your top comedy.
Yes, it's better than Game Night. It's definitely better than Game. I mean, and Game Night was fine, but this is laughing throughout the whole movie. It gets a little stock near the end, a little bit, but I feel like they actually utilized the potential of the story probably to great effect, to points where like this is not a typical romantic comedy, because there's no scene where so-and-so goes and talks down a dictator who's, has a hostage, Sure. Because she's Secretary of State in this movie. Okay. So that is very cool. There's an insurgent attack in one of the places. So basic premises is that Charlize Theron is work-obsessed politician, Secretary of State, and she is going to run for president.
Okay.
And Seth Rogen is a fuck-up failure. What a surprise there.
Yeah. He's Seth Rogen.
He's
stock Seth Rogen, which I like.
Who's a writer and who has recently lost his job because a huge conglomerate bought his little rinky-dink newspaper.
Okay.
So she hires him as a speechwriter. They go on trips. That's how they get to know each other. So he's there for everything. It's not very contrived, I feel. I feel like it actually works very well. The comedy is great. Some of the best Seth Rogen stuff, because the drug stuff isn't so over the top. It's more character interaction stuff.
Yeah, it's not a stoner movie.
No, right. It's not. I mean, there are stoner bits because Seth Rogen is yes. But I'd say it's the least stonery out of all of his shit. It's the least like, oh, look at all these like fucked up sex jokes and look how raunchy we can be. It's not Amy Schumer.
It's like a real mainstream kind of movie, but really well done.
Really well done. It's rated R. So I mean, it still has that raunchy shit. But it's good. I would give this probably like a B+.
All right.
Highly recommended. And it gets political.
Okay.
I thought for a movie, and it doesn't do it. It waits. It waits until the third act because it's a big character bit for Seth Rogen, who's a pretty far left leaning guy. And I think you'll be happy with this.
Really?
Because it deals with Democrats saying fuck you Republicans because you're a Republican.
Okay.
And how that's a wrong stance to have.
Okay.
And then it deals with also like, hey, maybe Republicans shouldn't be okay with like giant conglomerates that fuck over the little guy.
Sure.
And so it sort of finds the middle of the road and like, hey.
So he's like the libertarian character. He's like the...
No. He's not. The movie seems to be maybe taking a little bit of that stance, which is great.
Yeah, but politics are fucked.
Yes,
basically.
We're all fucked.
All right, well, I'm game for that.
Yeah,
but do we know, like, Charlize is she a deer in R, or is it not? For most of the movie, it doesn't matter, and we don't know.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that she's a Democrat.
Okay, that's Hollywood, I guess.
I mean, she runs on a platform of, and I feel like this is, I mean, it's a movie that's well thought out. It's the least controversial, I feel, of like sort of Democratic stances, which is the environmental one.
Sure,
you know,
right.
And I feel like she makes some good points. Also, he makes some good points because he's like, hey, you're just like every other politician. You know, you come with great intentions and slowly all of that shit gets whittled away until the point where you're left with a bill that sounds nice but does nothing.
Right.
And I was like, this is great. For somebody who's pretty disenfranchised with politics, this is fucking great.
It sounds like, I mean, everybody's saying it's pretty fucking good.
I highly recommend it. I'm cost $40 million to make. It made like 10 or 11 million opening weekend. It's really sad that this movie isn't going to make its money back.
So, I might go see it this weekend.
I urge everybody to go and support this because, I mean, I got
to see Pokemon, but
yeah, everybody does. Gotta catch them all. Yeah.
But yeah, so the only other things I have here, I'm actually going to talk. I'm about 70% of the way through Dr. Sleep, which is the Stephen King book, the sequel to The Shining.
Okay.
Ewan McGregor is playing Danny Torrance in a movie later this year. Mm-hmm. I'm interested to see when we'll get a trailer for that. I'm assuming the movie is pretty much in the can at this point.
Right.
It's really fucking good, dude.
The book is?
Yes. And I did not expect it to be that good. I thought it was just like a thing that he just decided, fuck it. Like, you know, I don't have any ideas right now. I know it's been 30 years. Let's just shit out a Shining sequel.
Right.
But basically the premise is like, he's like alcoholic in his like 40s or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because it has a lot of this like AA shit that I kind of talked about in the other one.
Right.
But reading it, it's not so goddamn annoying to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it like serves a purpose, like as far as it's interesting because it's not about his recovery. That's just an aspect of the story.
Right.
But yeah, he's basically, you know, he still can shine. He still like sees ghosts and shit or whatever.
He's still got the shine.
He's got the shining.
He's got the glow.
He get the glow, right. But a little girl needs his help and she's like the strongest. But the plot of this is that there's a gang of these like they're called the True Knot. and they just have been going like through the countryside for like hundreds of years or whatever, and they kill like the people who can shine. And as they torture them, as they hurt them, there's a steam that gets emitted, and they keep their everlasting, like they're like vampires.
Really?
Yeah, it's fucking great.
They kill them
for youth.
Wow.
Like, yeah. So basically, and now this little girl is like the strongest one that they've heard of. You know, they can like, there's a couple of them have different powers and shit. Like one of them can actually like make someone sleep just by like saying like, you're tired, go to sleep, or,
oh no,
you know, and like over time, like when they fade, like there's different things they do. Like when they're dying, they like phase out. So you're reading and it's like, oh, his skin became translucent and all that was left was his eyes. They cycle. Like it's fucking, I love it. It's batshit. It's really good.
I was going to say, we've gone into full like superhero mode here.
Yeah,
like
pretty much.
I mean, I'm going to take your word for it.
The killers are great. Like the gang of you know how he writes his characters,
right? That's
like,
true.
You know all their names. There's like Rose the Hat and like you know, the Doc or whatever, and fucking all the different characters on the good side,
right?
And you know, like the fucking Rose the Hat is like the leader of the gang, the True Knot, and she's fucking great. And and it's a newer book, and it's funny because I'm not used to reading like new Stephen King, so it was weird to me. Like there's a part where they're talking about the little girl, like when she was a baby,
right?
And she like at the beginning of the book, one of the first ways you get introduced to her is she's like a newborn, and she just will not stop crying on the morning of September 11th, and then the planes crash into the buildings, and she stops crying, and it's like shit like that.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good,
dude. I can't wait. I hope they don't fuck it up.
So
I hope it's not Pet Sematary.
Right. So we've got a few other to do. You have Tolkien left.
Yes, and I'm going to say, I did watch Chernobyl.
Right.
I will say real quickly that it's fucking amazing, but I don't want to talk about it because you haven't seen it yet.
Right. So how was Tolkien? And then we'll get into our two shared viewings.
I saw it with a buddy of mine. He really liked it. I thought it was a fucking snooze fest. I got to be honest. Like the first half of it, I was just completely like, I don't care.
Right.
You know, like it was a typical safe, like biopic in the vein of like the Queen movie, only it didn't have Queen music.
Okay.
And I thought there was going to be more about like Lord of the Rings, like how he came up with the idea, and that's in there, but they tried to keep that kind of like subdued.
It's also
it just wasn't.
I forget what it is, but it's not like an authorized biopic. Like it's not an official.
That's what I heard. I heard the Sun didn't want it to be made.
Well, because there are things that Tolkien said that he did not like. Like he didn't like the fact that like people were tying his friends from World War I into the characters that he wrote for the Lord of the Rings. And he did not like that people were making an analogy between Mordor and the Nazis.
Now, the movie doesn't really do that.
It doesn't. Okay.
No, I mean, so obviously if he was in battles, he's going to have like it's not like it doesn't do that at all.
Right.
But it's not like, oh, good guys, bad guys. You know what I mean? Like, no. So, and that might have been why I didn't like it as much. Maybe I would have liked it more if it was like some weird way of telling his story. But and they kind of like put little moments in where it's like, oh, that reminds me of, you know, when he was whatever.
How was Nicholas Hoult though?
He was good. And Lily Collins, was good.
Okay.
As the love interest. Mainly as far as it tying into Lord of the Rings, the thing that it really did was push like the friendship. Like he's got like a bunch of buddies. It kind of reminded me of like a losers club type thing where, and you know, I just imagine them as like the hobbits, you know, but it's a snooze fest. It's a C. It's just it's fine.
Okay.
It's not creatively shot. It's not.
It looked pretty boring.
It's not very good.
This is one of those ones. Trust your eyes, people.
Yeah.
It looked boring. It was boring.
It was boring. And it got better towards the end, but it was boring. And it was like, I don't give a fuck about his romance with this woman. I just don't. That's not what interests me about Tolkien.
I know that was a big, like, I do know that that's why that's pretty accurate, is that was a huge part of his life. Like he always, I don't know if you noticed this, there's always like these like star-crossed lovers, or like in his stories, like really powerful romances. And I, that's pretty good. But if it's boring, it's boring.
Yeah, it's boring.
Arwen
and Aragorn was boring.
Were you annoyed? We already know you were bored.
No, I wasn't annoyed. I was bored.
Okay.
I was bored through the first half. I mean, would I tell people not to see it if they're interested? No.
Okay.
Like I said, the person I was with really liked it.
Okay.
So I just was like, this gives me nothing.
Right.
I would rather go read a Wikipedia article about his life than watch this movie. You know what I mean?
Right. So Game of Thrones. Not as disappointing.
It wasn't as bad, and people are shitting on this one, and I thought this was way better than the battle one.
This is a way better episode,
and it's not very good.
It's still not great, but
it's still broken in some parts.
There are some. I mean, and I'll be interested to hear what you think. Obviously, spoilers for this, people. Yep. It's been. I mean, at this point, at the time of release, it's been 5 days.
Yeah. And I have not heard your opinion on this yet, so I don't even know.
I thought it was fine. The thing that I was most happy about was the fact that we finally had an oh shit moment. When the fucking dragon gets shot, you're like, oh, something happened.
Yeah, but I have a problem. That's my biggest problem.
Okay.
Because to me, like, you've built up these dragons as like they were going to turn the fucking tide. And like the fact that she had these dragons was spoken about like all across the universe.
Right.
And now I believe in the span of like 5 episodes, we've killed 2.
Yeah.
As in killed, like made the ice dragon would have been killing the first one.
Yeah. Did I say it on the podcast, or maybe I just said it to my girlfriend? This is the death of the dragons. Like this season is like, they're all gone. Like magic in itself, it's going to be like, this is the death of magic for this world.
Yeah. Okay, fine. But you still need to like show that these dragons that everyone was talking about being this big threat are actually a threat. The fuckers like they're on a goddamn ship with what do you call them? The javelin, or what the fuck do you call those big bow and arrow things? There's like a name for them.
Right. There's a name for them, but yeah.
But they're on the front of the ship.
Right.
And like, I'm assuming they can't just easily be turned around the other way and shit. Like, first off, how did they surprise the dragons? First off.
I mean, well, okay.
Secondly,
okay. I'm going to take this point by point. Okay. One, so she's flying. She's pretty cocky.
Yes.
And based on what we saw from the terrain around them, and I don't think this is great by any means. You know what I'm saying?
But you're saying there is a defense for it.
There is a defense for it. But there are a giant mountain. They're waiting in sort of like a canal that you couldn't really see because it's surrounded by mountains.
Right.
Or at least very high rocks. So to me, that's not the worst thing in the world. And I sort of get like why she backed off, because she was stupid in that, like, it's to me, it was dumb, but also she was in a rage because she starts flying in, and it's like, of course, you're not going to fire your fire at them, because if you're close enough to shoot them with fire, they're close enough to shoot you with the fucking bows. So she was smart enough to not do that, but you're absolutely right. It's like,
fly behind them.
It's not flying is not a 2-dimensional space where you have to fly right at something. You can go and make a giant arc behind them and then come at them from behind.
There's
like you said.
No reason why she shouldn't have burned all those ships right after that happened.
Right. I mean, she could have figured a way to do it.
Right.
But she didn't, that's frustrating. But at the same time, it was
for story's sake. It doesn't work if she does that. And
for me, it makes sense why. Okay, so we've got dragons, and basically it makes sense that there's this guy Qyburn who's like, okay, well, dragons are just animals. They're just upping what we need to create for war. So of course and they already established it in the other episode where it was like the thing and they tried to shoot it and it just like didn't have the range or whatever to get the dragon. So they made it. It's bigger. It can shoot farther. I get it.
It doesn't work for me, like, as far as the lore is concerned that you built. It doesn't work because of what you've created in these dragons. You haven't like treated them like they were animals like the whole time. They are the fucking biggest thing to happen in this universe. They're the difference. They're the only reason Dany could get as far as she did.
Right.
Was supposed to be these dragons. You shoot a couple with a fucking arrow and it's dead. The ice guy throws one fucking ice chunk at one of them and kills it.
Okay, I like that because that makes
That's
him,
like magic, though.
That's magic.
And you turned it into an ice dragon. I could forgive that. That's fine.
Right. Well, and it made him an even more badass because you're like, oh shit, like he can take.
This was before we knew how he was going to die.
Yeah. Just a waste. But yeah, I look at that and I'm like, it makes sense.
Sure.
And also, it's kind of nice because, one, Dany needs to be humbled, like, right quick. Because she's
awful.
She's the thing is like Game of Thrones is like they're ruining their characters.
I mean, I haven't liked her in a long time.
But this season has really not gone a long way for me at all. And I was basically on board with her. She's been annoying me a little bit here and there, but I was basically on board. But this season, no, like I'm just not.
Well, okay, good things about the episode.
Right.
I love the idea that like Sansa's pulling like a little finger by like giving Tyrion the nugget of information that she knows.
Right.
Like she's not supposed to, but she understands how it works.
I'm so sick of Sansa.
I think she's pretty good in this episode. I liked the whole Tyrion Varys discussions. Like their talks are the best
scene in the episode.
Right. They're just great characters.
Yes.
And they haven't deluded themselves with bullshit yet.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what they are. You know their motivations. They're interesting.
Yeah.
You know, they have disagreements, but they're respectful with each other about those disagreements.
Well, and the way that scene is structured is interesting because it's a matter of like Tyrion seemed like a person who had never before he met Dany. He was not somebody who followed people. He was not a believer in leaders, really.
Right. Correct.
And now he is, and now he's being forced to question that again. And what does that mean for him? It's an interesting character. It's an interesting character moment for both of them.
I would agree.
And that's why it works.
They're just so great.
Like from a writing standpoint, there's not a lot of interesting stuff in this episode. Like it's a fine episode, but there's not a ton of interesting stuff for the characters. The best moments are those and Jaime and Brienne.
Well, and I heard people shitting on the whole Jaime leaving Brienne thing, but I thought that was actually pretty good. That made sense to me.
It makes Jaime a tragic character because he goes to what he knows.
Right. Well, and you're not entirely sure.
Right.
Like, you know, he could be going, maybe he thinks he can kill her. I mean, we don't know. But if he is going back to protect her, that's interesting too.
Right.
So either way, it interests me.
Right. I mean, it's good because, I mean, if he does kill her, that's a very poetic ending because he was the Kingslayer. Now he's the Queenslayer. Right. It's pretty good. I had a friend who was like, oh, why is Cersei not like shocked and pissed when she sees Tyrion, alive? Cause she's like,
she is pissed.
She is pissed.
She hates it.
But she's like, he was like, why isn't she shocked? And I'm like, well, because she hired a cutthroat to kill him. Like she knows that he's not trustworthy.
Right. Yeah.
Like really?
Yeah.
Like that's a gripe. Like I'm sorry. Like there are legitimate gripes with this season, but that's not one of them.
Right. No, and I don't think the Brienne Jaime thing was one of them either.
I don't think so.
I don't think that Dany. People were saying like Dany's character being an asshole is really one either, because to me this is who she is. You've been missing this the whole. It's all about her,
right?
And the longer she's gone through this, the more it's been about her,
right? Is she nuts? Is it something genetic?
Right.
Is
She is just a bitch in that Jon Snow scene. I wanted to punch her in the face.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. My goodness. When he's like, oh, you love me, huh? Like I have to tell my family. She's like, the only way that this will work is if you don't. Well,
yeah.
Well, sorry. I'd be like, well, you know what, Dany? I'm sorry, but I actually am the rightful heir, and I'm just going to go tell everyone right now. And then you're fucked.
Well, and the worst thing is she goes, she's all, what did she say? She's all, I wish things could go back to the way they were. And I was like, I literally said it out loud. I was like, oh, you mean when you had all the power?
Yeah.
And it was a one-sided relationship? Oh, okay.
It is kind of funny if he just went out there and was like, guys, by the way, this is the true nature of it.
Right.
She's done. Like, she'd be done.
But he's too much of a nice guy. He would never do that to her.
All right. Well, he should, because she's not very nice.
Right. Well, I mean, we'll see if John ends up like Ned, which is an interesting thing because, in all honesty, I never thought...
That's true. He doesn't know how to play the game right. He's too nice.
I don't think Dany knows how to play the game right either, because she's relied on the fact that she had the force of dragons behind her, and then people were like, oh, fuck, Dragon Queen. And now it's like, oh, fuck, a dragon is an animal. And we can kill it, and we're on pretty even footing right now.
See, that's a problem. Because they always knew they could kill it.
Yeah,
it was never an invincible creature. Like, they were around long enough in the past. There's enough lore on them to know they can be killed.
No, I'm not saying that nobody ever thought they couldn't be killed.
Right, okay.
It's the idea that this is what war does. It just makes us better at creating things that kill each other.
I mean, if you want to try and spin it that way, I still think they just fucked it up. It doesn't make sense to me.
The last scene of the episode, not in love with, other than the Tyrion Cersei stuff.
What's new, right? I mean, because the characters that are the interesting, like, good characters are the ones that have the meat in the fucking episodes.
Right. It's absolutely true. But like the whole like, we're going to kill Missandei and Grey Worm's going to freak out. It's like, yeah, anybody who saw like the setup shots for this, we already knew how this was going to play out.
Grey Worm can't fuck her anyways, people. It's not that sad.
They could like...
Scissor?
They could like scissor.
I don't know if that works for him. Poor guy.
Nothing works for him, sadly.
It's just a weird romance. But no, I mean, yeah, it seemed like they overestimated how much I'm supposed to give a shit about Grey Worm and Missandei. Right.
I mean, it's like, okay, I like both of them, but it's sort of like the second that you set up, like she's in chains and she's there and she's overlooking the whole thing and there's no railing. It's like, you know how this is going to go. Like, I'm sorry. It's just a very predictable scene. But the Tyrion and Cersei stuff was great.
I mean, yeah, what's new? They're great characters.
Yes.
They're fun to watch.
Yeah.
Varys is great. Like, when he's in the scene, like, it's just fun. It's fun to watch their interactions. Like, this show, this reminds you of, like, not that this is like a great episode.
Right.
But it does remind you of, like, oh, this is what Game of Thrones is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, characters, like, talking each other, like, you know, politics and, you know... It's not just really dark scene with monsters running around banging into each other.
It's not The Walking Dead.
Right.
Now, I would be remiss, or we would be remiss.
Okay.
If we didn't deal with the one thing that some people, I'm sure, are waiting on bated breath for us to talk about.
What's that?
The Starbucks cup.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's bad.
It wasn't a Starbucks cup, but everybody was like... Oh, did you see, like, they did, like, figures and found out, like, that Starbucks, because everybody thought it was a Starbucks cup, got, like, what equates to, like, $9 or $10 million worth of free advertising.
What was it? Just a coffee cup?
It was a coffee cup, yep.
It looked like a Starbucks cup.
Yes.
But you're idiots for leaving that in the shot.
To me, that encapsulates this whole season.
Yeah.
Well, we tried, but we forgot about, like, this blatant thing.
It's pretty good.
And
that happened.
Yeah, and it reminds me of Kit Harington when the first episode came out. I guess the day after it came out, he said, like, I don't want to be a jerk, but anybody who doesn't like this or whatever, not to shit on critics or anything, can go fuck themselves. And it's like, Kit, I'm sorry. I know that people worked hard on this, but just because you work hard on something doesn't mean it's good.
It's true.
And he's like, oh, somebody spends a half an hour writing a thing on their thing. It's like, well, it doesn't really matter how long it takes for them to write their review of it. A review is just a summation of how you felt about something.
That's right. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you're right.
You can't change how people feel about something just because
If it mattered how hard someone worked on something, John Carter would have had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh boy,
because they spent a lot of money and worked really hard on it.
We're still on shit we watched. I started watching this. It's on Netflix right now.
Oh, John Carter.
I started.
Well, no, hold off. We got to do an episode on it.
We'll do an episode on it.
I don't want to talk about it right now.
Sure.
I know it's going to make me really mad when we do. Love that movie. So you got through Bryan Cranston part then, I assume.
Yeah, I got through Bryan Cranston bit. One of the biggest wastes of him, by the way.
He was good.
He's good.
He was fine.
But he needs a bigger role. It's Bryan Cranston.
They really went all out to make that movie.
They really did.
They
did. They really wanted their Star Wars before they...
Yeah. Well,
actually...
I would rather we get more John Carter than this Star Wars that we're getting. I'm sorry.
I kind of agree with that.
You know what I mean?
It's something new and different.
Yeah, exactly.
Star Wars is creatively bankrupt right now.
And someone, if someone would have heard me say that 10 years ago, they would have been shocked by me saying that.
Right.
But that's honestly how I feel.
I agree.
But yeah, never mind. Fuck that.
Now our lead-in review.
To the biopic. So we talked about Tolkien because I saw that. That was one biopic.
Kill the Messenger.
Well, can you name this movie without looking it up?
No. That's not a great marketing thing, by the way, because everybody will know this as the Zac Efron.
It's the Ted Bundy movie. Yeah. Shockingly evil. Something and
wicked
vile.
and vile. Yeah.
Shockingly, my guess. Shockingly evil, extremely wicked, and vile.
Sure.
All right. No. Extremely wicked, shockingly evil. Fuck. I flipped him.
Yeah, flipped him.
And vile. Yeah. We both watched this. What did you think of this?
I thought that this was stylistically very boring. I actually took kind of great offense to the fact that they basically went out of their way to almost make you question if Ted Bundy was the one who did this.
It was weird.
98% of the movie is meant to do that.
I don't think that. I thought it was maybe up until the point where like, okay, there's one part early in his story where basically somebody fingered him as the guy who did something.
Yes.
And like, based on what they showed you in the courtroom, like if that was the evidence, they made it seem like, oh, well, he should have gotten off right there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But then it started to get a little better. But the first half hour, I'm like, this is weird. This is almost like one of those movies where someone's wrongfully accused.
Right. I mean, but it's also got things like you have like sex scenes and like him joking around. And I totally and completely understand what the point that the filmmakers were going for is, which is you can have a charming killer. It can be somebody that you're friends with, you love, whatever. Point being, you did not demonize a man who is, by all accounts, one of the most horrific monsters that has ever lived.
38 plus people they estimate.
And the things that he did to these people is it's I almost feel like I use atrocious and horrible a lot. There are no words.
It's fucked.
I mean, and the fact that you treated him this way, I don't like it. I don't, because the whole point is like, okay, could you imagine 15-year-old kid watches this movie? They're being introduced to Ted Bundy for the first time.
They don't know who Ted Bundy is.
Yes.
Right.
You don't have that context. You're going to walk away basically thinking, oh my God, did he do it? Maybe so he wrote the thing on the.
He did it.
You know he did it. But the fact that they spent so much time trying to make him seem like a human.
But I agree that it is weird that it feels that way. But I get it, because that's kind of his mystique, right? Was that he was like this super charismatic guy.
I understand.
But all you had to do was like splice in like a scene where he's canvassing a girl, or
yes,
you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, you could have still gotten that point across while also doing this.
Exactly.
And they wanted to go with the other route of that kind of being the focus.
I feel like this movie is kind of broken from inception, because it's like, oh, we want to follow the girlfriend and we want to follow him, but we never want to see him doing any of the killing until the very, very, very end.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very strange.
It's a movie that's built around one scene, which is the revelation scene at the end of the movie. And I feel like by doing that, you fucked your whole movie.
Well, and it's not a revelation to anyone who knows who Ted Bundy is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're just sitting there in frustration the whole time. Like, why aren't you showing this? Why are you doing this?
Well, and even like the interesting, weird shit that he did, like the crazy shit he did, like when he breaks out of when
he jumps out the window.
Yeah, when he jumps out the window or when he escapes through the roof. They didn't give you enough of that for it to be like interesting.
Right.
It was just like, like, because the story with the one where he goes up through the roof is apparently that there was like an apartment for one of the cops up there.
Right. Yeah.
And he like broke into his apartment and stole his clothes and like walked out and like,
you would never have guessed that.
How do you not put that in the movie?
Right. Right. And I would say, okay, so getting into other things, I feel like stylistically, this is very boring.
Yeah.
It's boring. It's very boring visually. The soundtrack is actually very good, but I hate the placement of every song in this.
Okay, we've discussed that before.
It's unnecessary to make him seem cool by playing this music while he's doing a thing. It's unnecessary.
It was a weird movie. It's funny too. The director of this, he made the
Ted
one about
Bundy.
the tapes.
Yeah, tapes. Yeah,
and he also made the Metallica documentary.
Yeah.
And he made what I think is like one of the best documentaries as far as true crime ever, which was Paradise Lost, which is about these like quote unquote satanic child murderer kids.
Yeah.
You know,
and it sort of is not shocking that James Hetfield shows up in the movie.
He's so bad with his little bit of dialogue.
So
it's terrible.
So you text me that and I was like, it's not as bad as I was expecting.
Really?
Because you texted me that before I watched it. And I was like, yeah, it's not good, but I don't know if I'd be like, this is atrocious.
I couldn't believe, I'm sorry, it breaks immersion too. It's dorky ass James Hetfield.
It was unnecessary, that's for sure. Let's talk about the acting.
It gave you something in the movie to be like, oh,
there's a thing.
Yeah, right. I guess. The acting though, the acting.
So we got Zac Efron, and what's the female's name?
Lily Collins, because there's Lily James and Lily Collins.
Right,
Collins.
yes,
she was in the Tolkien.
Yes,
she's a biopic lady.
So I'm gonna get my opinion out of the way, and then I'll let you kind of just say that I'm being a negative Nancy.
Oh boy!
But I didn't think that Efron was all that great. I thought he pretty much was himself.
No, negative Nancy.
He's fine. Like he's not bad.
No,
but I did not think that they did anything. I don't think they gave him anything to work with in this to do an interesting performance.
Well, clearly the best parts of his role are like they redo that scene where like the guy brought him out in front of the press and he kind of like, that was good. The part where he's doing the interview, I thought he was pretty good. And I want to see him play crazy Ted Bundy though.
Right.
There is no like,
there's nothing there.
Right.
And this Lily Collins, she's fine too, but I don't think, the fact that she spends half the movie depressed and sleepy,
and drunk,
there's not a lot to chew on there
she's
either.
Pretty good.
This is a pretty middle of the road.
What about I See Dead People, Haley Joel?
I knew it was, one, it was distracting right from the get-go.
Just that he's in it.
Is it him? I think it's him. And then you find out it's him. And he's fine.
You didn't know it was him immediately?
I questioned it because I was like, is that him? It looks like, I think maybe, but I was like, but would they give him such a small role? And then he becomes a bigger role.
He does.
And then I'm like, okay, it is him. He's fine. Also, I don't know. I actually thought he did a pretty good job. Actually.
Yeah, I think he's a good actor.
Yeah.
I
just, everybody's kind of like, oh, Zac Efron is amazing in this. And I'm like, is he though?
He's good.
Is he?
I like him. That part of the problem is I just like him. I like Zac Efron.
Right. He's a good actor, But the point is I didn't see anything special or that far out of his. In fact, I didn't see anything out of his wheelhouse.
It is interesting because the movie was trying to play up his charisma, but the way that I would have done that is to show it as a two-sided monster that he is. Like you show the bad parts, so that the charisma, you're like, oh wow, that's really amazing range. By the performance and by the actual guy had range as far as the bullshit he was pulling off.
Right, exactly.
But they didn't do that at all.
No. How did you feel about the judge?
Oh, Malkovich. I mean, he was Malkovich. Yeah. Right?
He was.
Yeah, so he was likable.
There's one thing.
And I feel like he phones it in constantly. But yeah, he did. They had the part where he basically tells him like, "Think you went the wrong way, son. You could have." It's so weird that actually happened.
Right, and it's the fact that like this is like real dialogue from that.
Yeah,
and that was a little sickening to me once you heard like the things that this judge said to him. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Like, you need to just. There's something wrong in your head to see what he did.
He's found guilty. You just gave him the death penalty.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, I would have loved to have you in my courtroom. He's a monster.
Dude, but that's just it, though. That's the point of this movie, I think.
Right.
Is that he, like, somehow was able to, like, cover that up in the eyes of people. I mean, I don't... But they don't show you, like, it's weird. Maybe you're supposed to be watching it as people watch the court case because they didn't see exactly what he did either.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of the idea.
But it's not as interesting.
No.
You know what? And you can't, fucking like, Silence of the Lambs doesn't work unless Buffalo Bill and shit, and you're seeing, like, the raunchy, fucked up shit that they were, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, it just doesn't, it's not a thriller. There's nothing thrilling about this.
No, it's very boring.
Right.
I mean,
what's your grade?
You
were just about to ask.
I was just going to ask you. I think I'm going to go with, and this is riding almost purely on the fact that I hate the inception of the idea for the film.
The concept, right.
I'm going to go with a D+.
Okay, I'll give it a C-.
Okay.
I mean, again, this is like Tolkien. This is just... I wasted my time watching it. It wasn't horrible.
Right.
But yeah, it's not very good.
It's one of those times where I don't always get mad at movies, but like this one is like this really like this happened. Like this is very kind of a big deal. It's like, oh, I got mad about how they treated my superhero. Like this is like a disrespect level of mad. That is very frustrating.
Well, from a director who probably should know better, right?
Right.
I mean, he probably knows a lot about true crime. He's probably studied a lot of, or talked to victims of shit. It was weird. Well, and when I saw there were people pissed when the trailer came out, and I was still like, okay, well, let's see what the movie is.
Right.
Because, but yeah, I get why someone would be pissed, I guess. I wasn't, but...
It did. I walked away like I'm mad that I wasted my time watching that movie.
Well, good. We got to talk about it.
Yeah.
So you were bored and annoyed.
Yes, actually. I started bored. I ended annoyed. Oh man, that's the worst thing too, is like, it's on Netflix, so I'm watching it. And I swear, like first 15 minutes, I'm on my phone. Like
that's bad.
And I'm of the opinion you treat movies with respect. People worked hard to put this on your screen. Dozens, if not hundreds of people. And I'm just sitting here and I'm like, nope, fuck this movie. I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame you. It wasn't great.
But I think that leads us to our topic for the week. What's up with biopics?
So yeah, we thought about this. It was funny because we kind of went back and forth on this because the topic is, are they inherently boring?
Right.
And And I can tell kind of speaking for you, when you had biopic in your head, you have a certain type of movie.
Yes.
Like, you know,
like this.
Right. Like this or Tolkien, I think would fall in that category.
Right. Bohemian Rhapsody is very much the archetype for this.
But I would say they're not inherently boring. It's how, okay, so there's a few factors. Like you can do something interesting with them. I would think like Vice would be a good example of that. Wolf of Wall Street. Right. Is kind of a good example of that, where you kind of tweak the realism of it. You know, like it doesn't feel like something that you're watching on the History Channel or something.
Yes.
That's how this Ted Bundy movie feels. That's how Tolkien feels. It feels like a Lifetime cable TV movie or some shit.
Oh, that reminds me. That's exactly what I said about the movie while watching it is this feels like a made for TV movie. So, I mean, I kind of twisted this a little bit, you know, like, are they inherently boring? I went a step further and answered that question for myself, which is a lot of them are. And how can we revitalize the biopic? I mean, I don't think that you even need to revitalize it. I think that because there have been some great ones. Tanya is fucking good. So that's what I look at this and I'm like, they're not all bad. I just get so bored. But you're not like ready to go see it when you hear that one's coming out, correct? No, it does not get me excited. No. Because a lot of the time it's like, I feel like I've been burned on them enough, you know? I mean, and it's also like, it takes me back. Did you ever watch Entourage? No, I watched like a couple episodes, but I cannot say that I've. Okay. You know. So Vinny Chase, main character, he does like the stock sort of thing, which is, when you're starting your career, you need a biopic. You need a rock. So he does one about, I think it's the Ramones. Okay. I think. And I kind of hate that because it does feel like stock Hollywood bullshit of like, we're going to do the musical biopic, man. And yeah, we're going to do it about the fucking businessman. Like Wolf of Wall Street. I'm sorry. I do not like Wolf of Wall Street. I know people love that movie. It's good. Yeah. I fucking despise it. It's a movie about excess and the whole movie is excess because it's like 3 hours long of like this horrible human being. I think it's pretty fucking entertaining. And I don't find it, because I find him so despicable as a human being that I can't find it entertaining. And I know that's me. But I'm just sitting here, I'm like, like they all have the same fucking beats. They're like, if a story is told chronologically, they're all the fucking same, especially for music ones and especially for business ones. And that is fucking boring. Well, it's funny because you say that, and I think my top rated movie this year, not my favorite, but I think the best movie this year that I saw is that Fighting with My Family. Right. And that's a biopic. Right. Yeah. And it does follow the beats, but it's good. Right. And it's hard for me to kind of, because I can't say you're wrong. I'd have to watch it again and really try to put together why it's so much better than, you know, other shit you've seen. Like maybe it's just the subject matter. You don't see wrestling movies. Right. That's true. Maybe because it focuses more on like one aspect of it, like her family. Right. Whereas like, for instance, you know, the obvious big one that recently came out was Bohemian Rhapsody, which to me is like, if it didn't have the Queen music in there to fool people into thinking it was an enjoyable movie, it's just as fucking lame and boring as it gets, to be honest with you. It's the Doors movie, but now, you know? And, I mean, I haven't watched the Doors movie with Val Kilmer in a long time. I almost said Jim Morrison. It's like, yeah, of course. But I haven't watched that in a long time, so I don't know how well that movie will have aged in my mind. But Bohemian Rhapsody is just disintegrating in my mind as I think about it. It's so bad. Because it's just like, it's so stock and so safe. But again, that's the thing. So like these bad movies, I'm calling them bad. I'd still give them like C's because they're like, I guess they're okay. Like I can't look at it and say like, I thought that this was just like, I was laughing at how bad this was. Right. But there's nothing exciting about it. I mean, there's nothing to make me ever want to watch that again. Nothing. So I've been thinking about like, how do we, revitalize the genre? And I'm like, I think you pack up the chronological storytelling or the reliable narrator, because the reason that Vice is so interesting is because it's shot and edited in a way that is so quick paced and so interesting. You can't help but pay attention.
It's all over the place.
It's all over the place.
Well, and Tanya did a little bit of goofy things too with like the people, interviews with the actor. Like it wasn't the real people.
Right.
But it was like there was something different about it that gave it like a different feel.
Well, like that.
It didn't feel like a boring, let me tell you this person's story movie.
The scene where Margot Robbie chases Sebastian Stan out of the house with a shotgun, and she turns to the camera and says, "This definitely never happened."
Right.
Makes the movie interesting.
Interesting, right.
So I'm kind of done with like, I can take everybody's word for this.
Well, what about like a Schindler's List type deal? Because that's a biopic.
That's a biopic, and that's a great biopic, obviously.
So that
I think you have to have, but
it has to be a story worth telling, maybe.
Yes,
yeah.
Because if it's not, because if you had just made a straight I, Tanya movie, it might not have been good.
No, a movie about Tanya Harding, who gives a fuck?
Right, but the way that they did it was so impressive. And with Schindler's List, that is one of the most inherently impressive stories that you could tell.
Well, and okay, well, here's another aspect of that too. Like I would say Lawrence of Arabia is another really good one. But like that they take liberties with the story. Like and they do in Queen movie too, but it might not be to advance the story. It might just be like, because it's more convenient.
Right.
Whereas I feel like in the good ones, they'll probably make a change because they're like, okay, if we combine these two characters together, then we can have these two characters bond in this way.
Right.
Or, like do something really emotional here.
Right.
They don't. Schindler's List and Lawrence of Arabia don't feel like they're cutting corners and doing anything stock in them.
Right.
They're using their real life stories to tell like an interesting narrative story that's not just like, Queen, let's make a Queen movie.
Right.
Give me the articles about Queen and let me just fucking,
Right. Yeah, I do think that it is I lost my train of thought.
Well, is Citizen Kane a biopic, even because it's based on a real person, but it's not a real person?
Yeah. I mean, I think that. Well, I think technically it's not. I mean, I think
technically it's not, but it plays like one,
right? And I mean, and I'm not, just tear away my cinephile card. I'm not clamoring to watch Citizen Kane again.
Sure. Okay.
The greatest film of all time. Really? We never topped it.
Technically for its time, it was amazing.
It's very good.
Yeah.
It's a very good movie. I feel like anybody who says it's the best.
We never topped it.
I feel like that's such a pompous, idiotic thing to say. I do. It's like, look at me. I like film. I like Citizen Kane.
It's not in my top 20 favorite movies.
No. But anyways, I can't get excited by them.
But the topic is, are they inherently boring?
I think that's one of those things where it's like, okay, you can make the argument that they are, because if you, at this point, it's not like forever have they been.
Okay.
But at this point, are they? And I would say the straight biopic without a Schindler's List level of like story worth telling is inherently boring. I have to watch a movie about like Good Charlotte and how they got together in the 90s and two cousins and I don't ever want to see anything remotely close to that ever again.
I kind of like the ones that are like the Winston Churchill one that had what's his name in it?
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman, in it was kind of about one thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's interesting to me.
Okay.
Like you have it's a situation basically. Lincoln
was boring as fuck.
And it was about one thing. You're right.
So, I mean, it's kind of like...
But Lincoln was good. I didn't hate Lincoln.
I thought it was boring. I mean, it's fine. I don't hate it.
It's a hell of a lot better than the two movies we just talked about. The Queen movie.
I agree. I agree. It's a movie that is a 2-hour movie that's stretched out into like a 3-hour movie.
You can chew on the performances.
Daniel Day-Lewis is amazing.
Yeah,
what else am I going to say?
James Spader was pretty good in that too.
I mean,
I liked it. It's not great.
No, it's not. It's not great. It's definitely not Spielberg. It's not in Spielberg's top 10.
No.
I don't even know how many movies Spielberg has made. It's not in his top 10.
100% guaranteed. It's not as good as The Post.
Oh, was that the one with, oh God.
That was Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep with the Vietnam.
Oh, right. Yes.
That's a biopic.
Right. You know what's funny about that?
And that's a good one.
What's funny about that is like the glorification of, the Washington Post. And then, I watched this Kill the Messenger, and you're like, you fucks. So it's one of those things where you're like, they're all fucked. Doesn't matter.
But no, that is now, yeah. So basically, what we've learned from this conversation is nothing.
No.
Basically, the point is, don't make boring cookie cutter biopics. Don't assume. Here's what I think it boils down to. Don't assume that your audience is so interested in the subject,
yes,
that you don't need to make it interesting for those who aren't.
Yeah.
Does that
I feel like that's a very good thesis statement. Yeah.
I mean,
if we were going to be writing a paper, that's the thesis statement.
Because I bet you huge Queen fans probably loved Bohemian Rhapsody.
Right.
And like someone who's super into like Ted Bundy shit probably could go either way just because of the way they decided to tell that story. But you can't, you have to make an entertaining product. It's a movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie. It's not a documentary.
Right.
It's not, the goal is to entertain your audience.
Right.
To make them feel something.
Right. And this is sort of the problem with our premise is that it's kind of like, well, how do you handle it?
Right.
Because you asked the question of like, if they change things, are you okay with that? And it's like, well, yeah, if it services your story and it gives you like a better emotional payoff,
and it doesn't completely shit all over like the whole theme that the actual story was.
But then you get into something like Ted Bundy, where he writes hacksaw on the fucking the window.
Yeah.
And it's such a movie moment. That never happened.
Probably didn't happen.
It's not.
It could have happened.
It never
could have happened.
I mean, we don't even know if she came like to the jail
to visit him,
but that never happened. That is such a movie moment. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, this movie is broken. I know I'm just getting back to like the reviewing of that shitty movie, but it's like they're like making the like sawing sound as he's moving his finger, and you're not seeing what he's writing, and they're intercutting it, and it's all like, whoa, this is crazy.
Sure.
And it's like, no, I don't care what he wrote on there. It's broken. This is a broken scene. Because it's like, it doesn't matter because like, I already know what he's doing. He's writing the thing that happened. Like,
you're right.
There's no tension there. Fuck you. Your movie sucked. Yeah. Fuck it. It's a D.
It's a D. It
dropped. Just thinking about it, it dropped.
See, I can't give it a D because I wasn't sitting there like entertained on the edge of my seat. But, by the way, he did make up that moment with the hacksaw thing. Right here. He did. Actually a phone call in the memoir.
It was a phone call.
It was a phone call.
And he said hacksaw?
It was not an in-person visit on death row, so that was the most extreme, blah, 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 blah. Something I believe in, blah, 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 blah. It was dramatic license that she made him admit it.
Yeah.
That conversation's more obtuse in real life. He never really admits to her to the degree.
Because he never really admitted anything. So that's such a movie
She was
moment.
satisfied that it was an admission, but it wasn't nearly as dramatic or specific as we show in the movie. But you're right. It's a movie moment. But movie moments happen in real life, too.
They do. That was such a movie moment that I'm like, this is so fabricated. I hate this. And it's the fact that that's the scene that you built your movie around.
You're right.
That's a shitty fucking movie.
It's odd.
It's a shitty movie. And it's a shitty biopic. It's so shitty that it made me not want to see biopics.
You're done with biopics. What's the next biopic that comes out?
I don't know.
Oh, if it's Elton John?
Yes. That's the other thing too, is I'm like, okay, like my experience with biopics, and it's almost like I just like forget that I just saw Kill the Messenger, which is, but it's like,
no, that's a biopic.
It is
right?
a biopic, yeah. But it's like I almost forget it because it's like you're good, so you don't count, But like there's a part of me that's like, okay, Bohemian Rhapsody, not that impressive. This movie, not good. And then I'm like, I'm not excited for Rocket Man. I like at all.
No,
it looks exactly the same as Bohemian Rhapsody. And Elton John has good music. And Bohemian Rhapsody, Queen, great music. I don't give a fuck though. Because it looks boring and cookie cutter.
Could be good.
It looks so cookie cutter.
What about the Hollywood one with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood about Sharon Tate with Leonardo DiCaprio and
I completely and 100% trust Quentin Tarantino to make an entertaining film.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be out there. It's not going to be. You know what I mean?
He might do exactly what we're saying, which is. Unreliable narrators,
right?
Story not told sequentially. I mean, dude's smart. He's going to make a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We will see. But yeah, I don't know if we have anything else to say about biopics. But
fuck them.
See, I'm a biopic fan. Go watch Patton, people. Go watch a classic old biopic from a different time. Watch one of those old biopics. Ooh, Green Book was a good biopic.
You know what's a good one too? And it's like funny because you're absolutely right. Like, I'm not going to pretend that they're like all shitty.
Yeah.
Right. Because we've listed so many that I like.
Sure.
Do I want to like watch them again? You know what I mean? Like a lot of them don't have much rewatch value to me.
Yeah, I would agree.
And that's like one of my favorite things. It's like a movie that I love. I love rewatching movies that I love.
Well, that's why. Did you watch The Witch this week yet?
No, I didn't.
But that was why I was shocked because I watched that and I didn't think it was great the first time I saw it, but I was like ready to pop it in and just start it over.
Right.
And that is exciting. Like Hereditary last year, I left the theater. I was like, I have to see that at 10 a.m. the next morning. Yeah.
And but I was going to bring up another one, which is All the President's Men. That's a great biopic.
God, it's been a long ass time since I saw that.
I had to watch that for school, and it was one of those. So it was a film class. I had to study the film. You had to go to a screening.
Sure.
But I couldn't make it to the screening because I had to work that night. So I literally bought the movie. And I'm just like, well, I hope that I like this. And I watched it. I'm like, this is a great movie.
All right.
So,
you know what my favorite biopic of all time is?
What?
John Carter.
Edgar Rice Burroughs. He was the nephew the whole time.
Dude, spoilers.
Yeah, it's not like it said at the beginning.
Spoilers.
It said like, oh man.
It's a real story.
That would be the greatest thing, is if it was real.
Hey,
magic is real, people. John Carter is still out there.
Those robots, they can't see the heliumites or whatever the fuck they're called.
And that little Mars rover that died.
That's what happened.
Yeah. John Carter came and landed on it. That's what happened.
No, that dog, the little dog character.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or that awful
it's about
princess
time for a rewatch.
Princess Barzoom.
Deja Thoris?
Oh God.
She's great.
She's not great.
Yes, she is. Great character. Great love story.
My great Jedak.
Yes,
Let me tell you about the thing that I did.
Yeah, but that's the point. That's the dialogue in the whole movie. That's like the cheesy pulpiness factor. That's
that scene ups to 11. We'll save it for another.
She's like practicing. All right, fine. No,
we'll save it for another time.
Hey, watch out for Bored and Annoyed Reviews, John Carter. There's going to be fireworks.
Yeah.
The show might break up at that point. It's going to be like a band that's been scorned by their bandmates.
Like the Beatles?
Yeah, like the Beatles. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's all I got on biopics.
Who's John Lennon in this?
I am definitely Paul McCartney. You can be John Lennon.
Okay.
I want to live through this. So.
That makes sense. I am the John Lennon. I wrote all the great hits.
Yeah. You can shack up with Yoko Ono.
I'm glad that
watch her ruin your career.
I'm glad we don't have a Ringo Starr.
That's true.
Actually, you know what? Ringo's fine, people. He's fine.
But yeah, that's it. Biopics.
Yeah, biopics. Thanks for listening, guys. If you guys have thoughts on biopics, what's your favorite? Do you hate them like me, but secretly not hate them because they're actually not that bad when they're actually good? Or, just any thoughts on our Game of Thrones review, anything, just drop us a line down at boredandanoid.com.
Correct.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Got to get the last word.
No, thank you.